Karthik. Uh, so how are you?
Just doing good. Have first week in Bangalore now.
Oh, nice. You moved to Bangalore.
Yeah,
That's pretty cool, man. Also, I'll just say that like I mean, I have no idea how many people see it right now. I have 3 subscribers and
yeah,
I have
yeah.
views on my video. but
Every YouTuber starts this journey from here.
but I guess again, just looking to have a normal conversation, and I guess anything that you wouldn't say publicly, you don't say. I guess, and nothing other than that. And
Yeah, yeah,
uh, but yeah, man, nice to see you again. Uh, and
yeah.
you moved to Bangalore from Chennai, right?
Yes.
I see. Wait, were you working already, or your job just started?
My job just started a month ago.
Okay, nice. And you're working remotely till now?
Nope, I just joined. Like earlier there was induction session, and now they have called for like the work.
I see, I see. And how has that been so far?
It's just like 1 month only, so I can't comment on that. Like, is it very great or
No, no,
there is a scope of improvement or what?
no, for sure. I've
But
started.
till now, it's very good. Like it's mostly the part that I am interested in. That is like newer technologies of AI, and they also promote to work on like uh, towards your interest. Like I have an interest in quantum computing, so they let us like have time to like you can read, go through, study material, and if you want to make something out of it, you can go ahead.
Nice.
So
And
that's really great initiative from that side.
yeah, so that's actually pretty cool. So this is like if you're interested in something, you can study about it like during a certain part of the day, or like throughout the whole day you can just
Hmm.
study.
It's like depends on how much work do you have.
Mm.
So if you have got the time, you could like study for all day long. But they usually keep the workload such that you will get your time to like have some self-study time kept aside apart from the office hours.
I see, I see. Okay. Um, I wanna try and get into what might be the video. Uh,
Yeah.
I think I think in my head, right, there are 3 parts to this video, right? So first,
Okay.
I wanna introduce ourselves at a high level, like how do we know each other, whatever, right? And then any questions you have for me, any question I have for you. I want to talk about your personal entrepreneurship story, whatever there is. I want to talk about resources at VIT Chennai, right? That's where you were for undergrad.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I was means didn't get that question. Can you get again?
I said I wanted to talk about VIT Chennai and startup
Yeah.
research.
Okay.
So, first, with respect to intro, I think it's important to say how we met. Uh, so,
Yeah.
me and a friend of mine, we were running a startup called Sapling Jobs. So, we connected entrepreneurs in the US with college students in India. And Shivam was one of the college students that we worked with. So,
Yeah. Hi, I'm Shivam.
yeah,
Okay.
no, no, go for it, go for it, go for it. We're all new to this. No, there's no rhythm.
Yeah, so hi, I'm Shivam, and I met Kaushik through a LinkedIn message a random day where I was looking for like new role to work on some front end as well as back end project during my college days. And we had a great time, like for 3, 4 months, we worked together towards a client, and that was really a great experience.
Yeah, it was nice. I just following up on the story, I messaged Shivam, and I think so. I was in the US, still I'm in the US, and I hopped, and Shivam said like there's something about his profile that stood out. And I have no like programming background, right? So I sent this profile over to my friend. His name's Shreyansh. And said like, oh, like, what do you think about this guy? And he said like, oh, he seems to be really like capable. But on paper, everyone is capable. So I said like, man, like, but that seems good. And I had a call with Shivam almost immediately at I think like 1 a.m. my time, or and
Yeah,
I do not stay up that late, right? But it was worth my time, and you see we're still like talking, I guess, after I don't know, year and a half. Uh,
yeah,
and a quick introduction of my background. So I'm very passionate about the entrepreneurship world. I have 2 business degrees, both specializing in entrepreneurship. I've tried starting multiple startups in the past, and currently I'm helping uh, Purdue University build out a startup accelerator in the US. So that's kind of where I am in my journey right now, and that's what I've done in the past. Uh, and I also want to tell you, Shivam, I guess like what I'm trying to do with this YouTube channel. Again, I don't necessarily know if it's going to be a YouTube channel or something else. I'm just throwing stuff at the wall and seeing what sticks, kind of. Uh,
Yep, yep.
I am hoping to help navigate the entrepreneurship ecosystem for college students in India, right? I feel if you want to like a lot of people talk about a lack of money and talent, but I feel with respect to college students in India, in my personal opinion, my experience, I think there's a lot of talent and there's a lot of like passion to go out and build things. And the gap is mentorship. Like I feel like you have this passion, you have the skills, but you don't know which direction to build in. Like what do I have to do? And I feel that's the gap that exists in the Indian startup ecosystem. And I want to try and bridge that gap, assuming that gap exists, right? Like I don't know yet, right? Uh,
Yes, the gap really exists because from like childhood world, there is a like system of like mostly in middle class families that you need to study hard, you need to go to school, get good marks, then have a great job. And like that basically sets an entire like what to say map in their mind, like what they have to achieve in future also.
no, I mean, like I don't think that's like there's nothing wrong with that. I would say, but I mean,
Yeah, there's nothing
it's a
wrong, but there's another portion of or another aspect of journey that one could also pursue. That's that's not very much flourished upon their minds. So it's a great initiative to take, like have a startup mentorship where the people like in Indians they have a lot of potential. I have seen greatly in tech. I
Mhm.
could comment on that one,
Yeah, yeah,
but they lack in mentorship. Like if they also start, I have seen many startups starting out from my university as well as my juniors also.
mhm,
They start, but they lack in the middle part. Like once they start, they just like get out of ideas whenever problem comes in, like how to tackle those problems. So in those areas, if there's a mentorship, I think they could like really success with their like whatever ideas or whatever failure that they are getting in their pathway. If they could get a great mentorship, I guess a lot of startups will just boost up from Indian people.
no, for sure. Again, definitely agree with that as of now. So I mean, same thought, but I guess let's see, right? Like that's part of why I'm having some of these
Yeah.
conversations, because I've also been out of touch with the Indian startup ecosystem. You could say like I moved to the
Mm.
US a few years ago, right? Maybe 4 or 5 now, and that's not too far off, but it's still like India is changing very rapidly, right? Like it's
Yes.
very different in 2 years. Things look very different. 2 years, things look very different. Is what I've observed growing up. Uh, so let's talk about your personal entrepreneurship journey, right? I think I want to ask, have you till this point ever considered being an entrepreneur yourself?
Yeah, it was like one of my friend who used to do a lot of freelancing, and he has a like attitude of a hustle culture.
Okay.
So I observed him like very closely, like what he does and what he wants to achieve
Mhm,
while doing this. And like it was a coincidence that we used to go to a lot of hackathons together.
mhm, mhm.
And there I like observed that this field has a lot of potential if you have great ideas and you really want to make something. So as I previously mentioned that I am into quantum computing and AI, so I read a lot of stuff and I am like in a like a process to make something that could help us in this field.
Right,
So it's in progress, I would say.
okay. And when was this? When was the first time that you thought about this?
Yeah, so my college like ended up in April, like end of April, and I have like plethora of time. I had literally had nothing to do for like 2 to 3 months.
I see.
So I went for like end-to-end path for like starting up with quantum computing, and like what are those areas where we are lacking, or how could I contribute to those areas. So in that way, I found that there are two major aspects that are lacking to expand or to get this technology to every people. That is that it is not very stable, first point. So there's lot of research going on towards those areas. So I am like finding a ways to like uh, minimize those gaps to a certain level that we could leverage in our day-to-day lives.
Mm-hmm.
And second is there is a very limited resource of study
Mm-hmm.
for quantum computing, and it is like people have this in mind that okay, it is a very hard topic and we normal people cannot understand it.
Mm-hmm.
So those like a way of teaching or a way of learning, like how could we make those learnings easier, and like people who had a certain level of like experience or study level could get into this field. Like how should I lower that barrier? I'm working on those areas.
And help me understand what is quantum computing. This is my understanding. Quantum computing is just like very fast computing. Like you're trying to go to like the edge in terms of the capabilities of computing. Is that right, or am I like completely mistaken?
Yeah, because it happens whenever a new technology comes. So I would go in very like short words, like how a quantum world looks like, or how quantum computing works. You may know a bit like it works on zeros and ones.
Yeah,
Every physicist, like a basic physics we come from says that okay, we have some diodes and zeros and ones
yeah,
are trues and false.
yeah.
But in quantum worlds, there's no like it's not only true and false. Suppose this is true and this is false, and we have this range in between.
I see.
So it could take any value in between 0 and 1.
So they're like
So a
they're
lot of
infinite
algorithms
values.
can like, yeah,
Sorry, sorry. Continue. I meant
no,
to
no,
ask
you go
you,
ahead.
are there infinite values between the 0 1 slider kind of like in theory?
Yes, there are infinite values, but currently, like, we could not leverage all those infinite values.
I see.
We means there are some physical and mathematical constraints that does not let us leverage those all values.
Mhm.
But yes, it is like more powerful in terms of like having 0 and 1 only.
Mhm. I
So
see.
in that way, their mathematics and their physics is totally different from what we are talking from right now. Like I am using a mobile device to like have a chat.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that technology which it uses and the quantum technology that we wanna be using in like 20, 30 years after, I don't know, would
Okay.
be totally different.
Like as I guess as someone who doesn't understand the nuances of it, like this is a very high level explanation, right? I guess can you help
Yes.
me understand like what are like potential applications of it? Like what does this mean? Like what can happen if we're able to I guess crack the code or improve in this field? Like
Yeah, so there's a buzzword about like cryptography.
mm,
So in basic terms, whatever you do, like chatting or we are having a video call right now,
yeah,
it has certain kind of encryption while it travels to the internet.
yeah,
But the very basic algorithm that a quantum computing has the capability to like crack it within seconds. So that's the power of quantum computing currently.
okay,
And the normal classical computer would take like years to crack those codes. So if we get into this powerful machine with like stable, what to say, it's not stable currently. So if we get to a stable standards or the industry standard that we could leverage it, it would like really change how we see the world today and how we make algorithms today to work with.
interesting, interesting. And with the advent of the field of AI, I guess if quantum computing also got there, it would just give so much more computational power
Hmm.
because we're talking about that.
There's a work going on with quantum computing, machine learning also. I
Mhm.
haven't like touched upon those areas very deeply, but there are still work going on to like how to leverage these machines in quantum world.
I see. Okay, so I'm gonna switch gears, Shivam, because
Yeah, yeah.
it was interesting, and I can keep talking about it. But I guess that would be a separate YouTube channel, right? Uh, so you are mentioning, like, it seems very recently that you've thought about pursuing entrepreneurship for the first time. Uh, and I think I want to talk about working at a startup as a college student. Uh, I think we gave some context, but you're essentially a developer and you are working for a client that we found, and you're working 4 hours a day, 5 days a week. Uh, and I guess I want to hear from your perspective in that experience. What would you say were the highs of that experience, and what would you say were the lows of that experience?
So the heights, I will start with the heights of the experience. You are the owner of everything. So you have to decide what you have to do, what you have not to do to like speed up the making process, as well as whatever the non-functional goals are there, like you have to cater to these many people, or it should open in like this much second. So all those you have to decide. You have no one to like help you in that regard. And if you are capable, it's like a boon on you to like you can handle each and every aspect of that part.
Okay.
And what are the drawbacks?
Mm,
The If you don't have mentorship
mm,
from someone who has greater experience than you, then
mm,
you might take some decisions in like early stages that might prove wrong, or that may take a little bit of more time to like fix it in a future time. So these are the like two drawbacks that one could face while starting for a entrepreneurship journey as a developer.
I see. I, I'm also just curious in your personal experience, right? Like you went through this, right? You weren't starting up, but you're working at a startup as a college student. So what did you like
Yeah.
about that, and what did you dislike about that? Like looking back, what do you feel like this is good, or looking back, like this is not good? Yeah, and
So once I
I prefer not to say also. It's okay because I know like we were working together, and so it's all
yeah.
good. It's all good.
So at like I remember the first day when I joined, I was totally nervous. Like it was my first client and how I will deal with him. I don't have any idea about how to deal in a startup culture. How often are we going to meet, and what are we are going to talk about? I don't have any idea about like what's agile meeting gonna be look like.
Hmm.
So those are really good experiences for me, and I have learned a lot in those 2 to 3 months.
Hmm.
And the drawbacks, I would say, they're like you need to like have some, again I would say, mentorship in the early phases. Maybe it be your someone who is your senior or whom you know in this field, to like have a chat or conversation with them, like I am working on this field, how could I excel in this field, or like what is a good thing to do to like so that other people won't get like there are certain things like I have to do, but I haven't delivered it on time.
Mm-hmm.
So it also creates blockers for others.
Sure.
So those things I did not know during the early stages of my journey. So
No.
if I had someone or a
Mm,
senior that could guide me through that way, it
mm,
would have been much jerk-free journey, I would say. It would very smooth journey for starting out in this field.
I see. I mean that's some those are some good thoughts. So I guess
Yeah.
I guess if I'm to sum it up, I think the experience was it was a little overwhelming. Like there was a lot, like you just kind of like you're thrown into a swimming pool essentially, right? And like try to swim,
Yes.
right? And I mean you did I guess ultimately float, but it felt like you could have drowned, right? And
Hmm.
that was the situation, right? That's what
Yeah.
I feel like I'm hearing.
And a lot of it depends on you only, because
Mhm.
till if you are able to like adapt to that situation, or you are able to get things, like every startup is different, like
Yeah,
they
yeah.
have different thoughts, they have different mindset, they have different working hours as well.
Mm,
So if you are able to adapt to it, or whatever seems right to you,
mhm.
if you are able to get into that zone, that's gonna boost up your entire what to say,
Yeah.
journey, I would say.
No, for sure. And I think those are some great thoughts. Possibly also some great feedback if I decide to start that start working on sapling again. Uh, and yeah, I mean, I think what I find it interesting is I find that like the experience that you described, uh, very similar to kind of like starting your own thing as well. I think it's a very overwhelming experience. And I remember when I tried to start up for the first time, right? Like straight out of college. I don't know if I ever told you, but my goal was to build a pan India brand of Pani Puri, right? So that was my,
Oh.
yeah, it was my first attempt at starting up. Never sold a single Pani Puri. Learned a lot from my own experience, but never sold anything, right? And I remember, like after college, I said, okay, like this is what I'm doing. Like I'm want to try and start something up. And I remember like almost like day one, I'm like, okay, now what do I do with my time? I mean, like till this point in my life, I had like classes or whatever. There was some structure in my day.
Hmm.
Now there's like absolutely nothing. Like I have zero idea what to do with my time. I have no idea what feels like I've done a good job today or when do I feel I haven't done enough today. Like there's no benchmarks, right? And maybe that's where
Yeah.
like some of that mentorship like helps, like just to give you some guidance uh, if at least a bit, right?
Yeah, there's a good point about you said like there's no benchmark because in startup journey you are the evaluator of yourself.
Hmm.
No one else is gonna evaluate you till you have made certain progress or you have got some feedback. So
Yeah,
that's really a great point.
yeah, and I think also like from your own journey, right? Like because you went through this, and even though it was overwhelming, like at this point you have some benchmark of what good work could look like, what
Hmm.
does not look like from that experience, right? And now when you're on your next experience now, like you know what pace to go at. Like today, if you think
Hmm.
you're doing good work and you're like your boss comes and is like upset at you, you know that like you're being taken advantage of maybe, right? Because you know like you have some baseline. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, again, I don't know what my thought was going into this, but just something I wanted to share. Uh, so, unless you have any other thoughts about like the entrepreneurship stuff, I want to move into the second part. Uh, or the
Yeah,
third
we
part.
can go.
I want to talk about VIT Chennai's startup resources, right? Uh, I think a question I have is before you went into undergrad, right? Did you ever like know about entrepreneurship?
Before I went undergrad, I just know the word that's very hard to pronounce that called
Okay.
entrepreneurship. I
Okay.
I literally had no idea like what it's gonna look like and how to pursue this journey altogether.
I see. But you knew what entrepreneurship is.
Yeah, means I could only see it through like some people coming into great shows and delivering about their stuff that they have done. So I had very limited like idea about what's entrepreneurship gonna look like and
Mm,
how to pursue this field. So
I see.
before undergrad, I had literally very less idea, and there's also like mm, mindset of having to get to a good college, so we need to study a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So I was literally in that zone at that time. So I didn't have that much time to like contribute towards these areas.
Mm-hmm. I see. I see. And 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 I guess I think one question I had is I don't know if this will be the first question or last question of this, but I guess I'll ask. If today I went to VIT Chennai, right? Like I am a new student, I went there, I'm interested in entrepreneurship. Who is one person that I should go talk to, or maybe one building that I should go to start like getting connected to the network in VIT Chennai? Is there anything like that?
Yeah, so yep, there's a special cell in VIT that's called VNest that
It's called VNest.
especially works for VNest. Yeah,
Which, sorry, can you
it
spell that?
especially works. Yeah, what do you say?
Can you spell VNest or we missed?
VNEST,
Oh, I see. Okay, my
like
bad.
a bird nest, VNest.
I see.
Yep. So it especially works for incubation for VIT Chennai students that want to pursue their startup journey. So there's, I guess, third floor. When I graduated, it was in third floor AB1 building. where
EB1.
if you have any idea that you want to pursue and you have like certain things that you have done that you want to showcase to like get into this field and want the university support or whatever, you can literally reach out to them. They have literally got a specialized cell, specialized people hired for uh, those like to fund those journeys.
I see. So if, let's say, I am a new student and I just got onto campus, right? And I never tried pursuing entrepreneurship, but I want to explore this, right? So I mean, I don't have anything to go and say to someone, this idea I want to work on, this is what I want to build. But maybe I want to like learn more about what is this, like what does it look like? Maybe I want to meet other students who kind of went through this journey, or I want to meet other students who also want to know about this like me, right? Would you say going to uh, this VNest office is still the best way, or do you think there's maybe a different way to go about things?
Yeah, so VNest mostly focuses on incubating new startups or like have some baselines to start a startup. If you have like you said about like you don't have idea and we want to get idea, you could also reach out to them. But a good option would be like we have some courses that like I am from engineering background, I don't have any business background,
Mhm.
but they have certain credits limited to or like uh, specialized to those areas where it's not engineering field, where you could take it upon whatever interest you have. Suppose I have an art interest, so I
Mhm.
could take art course or whatever I want.
Mhm.
And suppose one has entrepreneurship is course, so they have a specialized courses for business analytics, entrepreneurship, and all together. So if you want to take a learning perspective about how entrepreneurship works, how it's gonna look like, then we could go this pathway of having some learning and then moving on to Venus to like get a better idea about how to do it practically.
I see. And which year of your college can you take these courses?
It starts from the first year itself. There's no restriction upon those things.
I see. And do you think of first? I also assume that if you have first year, you have a lot of like core classes that are compulsory, right? So
Yeah.
do you have like, do you think a normal student would have the time and space to like go out and take these classes?
As I mentioned, no, that they have specialized credits that's attributed to those things. So they have to mandatorily complete those
Oh,
credits that are not a part of engineering.
I see. I see. Okay. Nah, okay. So when I was an undergrad in my university, we had some core classes and we also had some other special classes we can go out and like kind of take. This was an addition,
Hmm.
which is a different case. So I was asking from that perspective. Uh, but have you, did you by any chance go through that entrepreneurship class?
I had mostly taken the path of like personal finance and project managementship
I see.
classes.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I see.
So I have invested my those credits over those areas about how to manage startup or how to manage people. So I have taken those courses.
I see. And I'm curious, at the time of making your decision for these courses in your first year, did you like, do you think entrepreneurship was one of the courses you considered or not?
So entrepreneurship as a course, it's not there. It is basically into multiple chunks. Like business analytics is one aspect of entrepreneurship, but it's not totally entrepreneurship. Similarly, managing people is a aspect of entrepreneurship. So I have taken those little bit of chunks. I don't know whether it's complete after 4 years or not, or I have to study something else also, or I have to gain some other knowledge, like basic knowledge about them. But I think it's motivated by entrepreneurship journey
Mhm.
to take up these courses.
Wait, so just to clarify, like I assumed there was like a course that was like named entrepreneurship. That's not the case.
No, it's not the case.
Okay,
It's like different courses. You have to make your own like how to say basket of courses that you gonna take up to like direct your journey there.
I see. I see. So that's not direct. I'm also curious, are there any like student clubs or anything related to entrepreneurship? or any like maybe
Mm,
Instagram pages or Discord chats, I don't know, for college students at VIT Chennai who are interested in entrepreneurship? Or if not, do you know any other like general places?
so they have recently opened a club like 2 to 3 years back called we Next Seed,
Next.
where it's basically Next Seed,
Okay.
where they basically talk about like incubation, and they had a lot of activities also organized regarding to that aspects.
I see. And if I want to find like a contact for Next Seed or I want to hop onto this club, how do I do that?
I guess for each of the clubs, there's a page on VIT Chennai portal where you could find their student coordinators, or they have a special unit called Student Welfare Center,
Okay.
where you can contact officially to VIT people, and they are gonna reply to all your queries.
I see. No, I'm just curious because I think so. Also, I think one more thing to say about my undergrad journey is going into undergrad. I knew I wanted to pursue like entrepreneurship. Like I want to start a business of my own, uh, and uh, I think I didn't necessarily know like what resources can I tap into in college. And I also maybe there's more exposure now, but or maybe I didn't have exposure. I don't know. Right. But I guess I thought till I finish college, I can't start a business. Like this is like a part of my life that needs to be completed before getting this other part of my life. Right. And I think that was a big misconception I had that took away a lot of potential years of my journey from myself, I would say. Right. So I think that's one of the reason I'm asking some of these questions. Like for anyone who's
Mhm.
interested, hopefully I'm trying to like reduce their friction if they see this video, they want to start
Yeah, yeah,
like they have a starting point, right? I think once you meet like one person in that ecosystem, things become very easy,
yep,
right? But it's difficult to find that one person sometimes. uh,
yeah.
uh,
And you could also share a lot of things about like how you are thinking, like what you are gonna thinking about, and like share stuff, and like a lot of ideas come through that two-way talks also.
yeah,
Like they have some other perspective that they are gonna uh, counter upon, or they have something better idea upon something that could really change a lot.
for sure. And I also want to say we have I think 6.5 minutes left. I know we scheduled for a little longer, but apparently the free Zoom call is only 40 minutes long, not 1 hour. uh, Uh, and I also wanted to know if you had any personal thoughts on what you felt maybe your university or universities in general can do better to help uh, students who are interested in entrepreneurship from your perspective. And if again, I know you haven't directly been connected to that world, so if you feel you don't have anything to say, that's okay as well.
Yeah, the one thing that I would contribute on this question is we don't have that much exposure in our college towards entrepreneurship journey. We basically focus on getting, or in most of the colleges, it's like that you have to go towards a placement
Mhm,
activities. You need to learn a lot of things that are going to be asked in interviews,
mhm,
and that really like takes a lot of student times and effort to clear those activities, and like they could not touch upon these areas. So
no,
that's one thing that one could get an encouragement upon, or could get a light throwing upon them, like, okay, there's something called entrepreneurship that you could also pursue.
I see, I see.
So that's one thing that could be integrated at university level, that they could educate us about these things as well.
I see. Yeah, I think that's a that's a good thought. I think it's also similar to my own personal experience. I wish I had more exposure. And it's not just I wouldn't say it's just on the university. It would be nice if the university did like more
Mm.
went out of their way. And I feel that if I had went out of my way, maybe I could have found many more things. But I just didn't realize that I could go out of my way, if that makes sense. I didn't realize it was like an option. Maybe it's like naivety or again like lack of awareness, knowledge, whatever it was.
Yeah.
Uh, so that's definitely I would say an interesting thought. Uh, and I think those are the primary questions I had today. Do you have any questions for me or any thoughts or anything?
Yeah, I had one question. you like worked, like not worked, you have studied into business schools to like start up your entrepreneurship journey or take upon this entrepreneurship journey.
Mm.
So from your perspective, what are the current blockers that you might feel a new person or a new what to say entrepreneur who wants to pursue this journey will lack or will like the major causes of failure that an entrepreneurship journey had in past few experiences?
Sure. So you're saying in general, if someone is starting like an entrepreneurial journey, what might cause them to fail? Like very general.
Yes,
I see.
very general,
I see.
like starting phases of those.
For sure. Um, I would say one thing though is that like I feel I've a few years or maybe almost a decade into my journey in some senses, and I've tried a lot of things. So I guess some things have become obvious to me, so I may not like share everything. If that makes sense, like I'm putting that
Hmm.
perspective in. But I think some of the first thoughts that came to my head is one. I think one thing that may cause a big challenge is not understanding the effort that's gonna go into the journey. Right. I think because you have no baseline when you're starting for the first time, right? Like today, if you're gonna work with my startup again, you kind of know what's gonna go into it, like how much effort, right? But when you're doing the first time, it, as you said, can be very overwhelming, right? Uh,
Yeah.
I think another thing that I have personally seen is a lot of talking and not doing, right? It's difficult to find the balance. Like obviously, you want to strategize, you want to think about things, but also you want to have enough like execution, you could say. Uh, if that's not
So
happening,
there are basically lot of ideas, but it does not get executed, like it does not come into real world.
yeah, it could be. And it's not just like high level idea, but also like next step. Like for example, let's say we said like let's start a chai shop, right? And I said,
Hmm.
oh man, like you know what a good idea would be. We can call everyone and see if anyone's like you know giving out their shop for lease, right? And then you say, Kaushik, that's a good idea, and then we never do anything about it, right? Like someone has to pick up the phone and make those calls,
Yeah.
right? Right. And I mean like even sub challenges that come up. Those are I guess those are two big things that I can think of. And there's probably like many more. I think two more things in the Indian context or in general. I think one, as you said, there's that big like there's a lot of social pressure on you when you're building something to maybe not build it. Like why are you spending your time on this stuff? Like like try to find.
Yeah, going ahead from then trivial things
Yeah,
basically.
I mean, I think that's changing a bit in India now with like Shark Tank and whatever.
Yep.
But I would assume again I've been out of touch, but I would assume there's still a long way to go. Uh,
Yeah.
and and then the another thing is also I think relationships. Uh, it's like sometimes when you might start off as friends and you might try to build something and you might start facing some issues in the way, right? And especially in a country like India where like there's a lot of emotions that go into relationships, whether friendships or relationships,
Yeah.
where sometimes that complicates things even more than normal, right? uh,
Okay.
Again, these are just some of my first thoughts in
Yeah,
general.
yeah.
I think there's so many other things. uh, but also, I think we're at the end of our time. Would have answered more of your questions. Honestly, man, I think if the recording stops, I can
Yes, it's
continue answering your questions if you would like. Uh,
no, no, it's all right.
okay. Well, it was nice talking to you, Shivam. Hopefully, we'll have at least 5 views. Uh, and thank you for
I
your
will call my family members. Hello, see my video.
time. Chalo, man. Okay. See you. Bye.
Okay.
And maybe we'll have
Bye
another
bye.
talk again.
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Ciao.
Bye.